Welcome back. We're fortunate to have Dr. Richard Cooke with us, and again, he is an original member of the SPHERE project coming from the University of Illinois. He's a professor in agricultural and bioengineering here on campus, and again, he's been involved very heavily with the SPHERE project, but also with at least one of the departments in Sierra Leone in their efforts to revise their curriculum. And one of the things that he's going to share with us is talking a little bit about these things, learning outcomes, learning objectives, and so on. So part of that revision that they're doing in the Department of Agriculture and Engineering at Njala University is you have to identify these. Remember, as we talk about design of backward design and understanding by design, designing a module or revising a module, the same thing is going to be true for a curriculum. We start with what are the goals? What do we expect from the students? So he's going to talk a little bit about that. The other thing I want to remind you is that these learning objectives and goals and so on need to be some consistency throughout. So I've been talking a lot at this level and the module level. He's going to be talking more at this level. So every instructor who then modifies their course, in the process of doing that, they're going to go back and be looking at these department-wide or curriculum-wide or degree program-wide learning objectives. So let's see what Richard has to share with us this time. Richard, good to see you again. Thank you for coming back and sharing some more with us in terms of your experiences in Sierra Leone working with the Department of Agriculture and Engineering at Njala. So that program has been revising their curriculum, and you come up with some overarching learning objectives for the students in that program. Can you talk very briefly about how that came about again, and then what are those objectives?
Thank you, Walt. So after we had the SPHERE workshop at Njala University, then we had a follow-up workshop in the department where 13 or 14 members of faculty got together to determine, who we are and what kind of a student are we trying to produce. And so we came up with these program objectives and these learning outcomes for the program. And our outcomes then, essentially, our students have to have an ability to identify, formulate, and solve complex agricultural engineering problems by applying the principles of engineering, science, and mathematics. They should have the ability to apply these engineering design principles to produce solutions that meet specific needs related to public health, safety, and welfare in a global, cultural, social, environmental, and economic, taking into account these global, cultural, social, environmental, and economic factors. They should have an ability to communicate effectively with a range of audience. And there's a need to recognize their ethical and professional responsibilities in engineering situations and to make informed judgment that take into account the impact of the solutions on global, economic, environmental, and societal contexts. So if you look at these learning objectives, you can see some of the words that the action words from Bloom's taxonomy. There has to be an ability to identify, to formulate, to solve, to apply, to communicate, and to recognize, etc. So we have incorporated this into our learning outcomes.
That's excellent. That's a fantastic example of how to use Bloom's taxonomy. In these videos, we could keep coming back to Bloom's taxonomy again and again and again, and this is exactly why we're doing that. Can you give us an idea of what impact these kind of discussions at this time have been having in the department? So you've already mentioned a couple of the faculty members are starting to make some changes in their modules. Do you feel like there's a different way that the faculty in that department are thinking about what they're doing after all these different kind of discussions?
I think so. And I think what's driving it in our case is we see the need for accreditation to get our program accredited, because if our program is accredited, then the students have greater mobility and they have a greater sense of professionalism. So because of that, we have moved forward to make changes to our program and to adopt these principles because we see it as being beneficial to us.
Excellent, excellent. So one of the things I had mentioned in an earlier introduction to student-centered learning was the idea that it requires a change in mindset of how we think about teaching and learning. And from what you're saying, it sounds like that's clearly going on in the department you're working with.
Yeah, I would say so. And we have a couple of people who are kind of championing the effort. And these, as I mentioned, they have been taking part in all of these workshops and trying to see how we can apply these in the department. And we have the support of the department head and other senior members of the faculty.
Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome, Walt.